lot of new people in the group. So I'm super excited. I think it's going to bring a lot of new energy into the group. I've really been making my own transition to try to turn my Expand Your Destiny into like kind of keeping Creating Healthy Babies and Expand Your Destiny kind of separate. And so it's been really awesome to just feel the separation of that vibe, because before I was kind of confused of like how I'm going to combine them all. And so I'm super excited. I have your guys' questions in. I'm glad Brittany made it on. Super, super exciting. I saw Margaret on, but I saw that she was off. So I'm glad you guys are on. I'm just going to start going through these questions. Let me see. Why does you guys' faces keep going away? Okay, so I'm going to just start going through the questions. I didn't get a ton of questions, but I'm sure questions always bring questions. So I'm super excited for this Q&A. The first question is from Sammy, and I don't think she's on. I think she said she had a class, but do you plan your live videos, or do you just pop on and do them when you feel like it? So here's my thing. I like what Gary Vee says. He says, document, don't create. So just anytime you feel inspired, document it, because that's when you're going to have the most inspiration. So I tend to just get on when I feel like it. I tend to post when I have that inspiration or something pop up. The problem is when you are like in funks, like I've been for the past 2 weeks, and you have no inspiration at all. Like your confidence is just low. You have no inspiration. That's where I personally use that pinwheel, and I create my weekly topics. So I always have weekly topics. So for those that don't know what the pinwheel is, you have this pinwheel, you have your core message, and then you have your 7 or however many peripheral messages, and then you create content around that. And so I personally, number one, with Creating Healthy Babies, I hire out a VA. She does all of those posts for me. And then with Expand Your Destiny, she also does my daily posts. So like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And so I hire out someone to do like consistent posts like that. But as far as like the content, the intuition, the inspiration, I write all of those posts, and I try to do it off of inspiration. But if I have nothing to write about, I'll literally just go search Facebook and find something I like, and then create a post about like it, but different, obviously my own, something that's inspired me. So I literally go through and I have a saved file on Facebook. Anytime I see something that somebody has posted that I felt so drawn to, I save it. I have all of these saved posts. And then what I do is when I don't have inspiration, I can go to those and I can get some inspiration of what I want to talk about, how that post made me feel, or whatever it may be. And so just like in my email list, I have what's called a swipe file, and I just swipe it all over into my swipe file if I find a good email that I like. And then I know if I like that email, I can go back, I can read that email, and I can go and make it my own. And so I save those for days that I don't have creativity, but for the most part, I try to just jump on when I feel it. Now, it's kind of hard with kids, but a lot of times people understand, especially if your ideal client is women. And so the next question that she had asked was, I have it right here. Let's see. Does Todd Black journal, because she said she couldn't find where she posted it, so she just posted in here. So she said, does Todd Black journal, or how else does he deal with anger? So yes, he loves black journaling. Now let me tell you, he's gotten a little inconsistent with it, and guess what? His moods have been super like ugh, because as you guys know, is engine blue, and he's just been having all of these issues. Well, in those moments, he kind of forgets to black journal. And so the way that that's the main way he deals with it, is black journaling. But when things are super, super stressed and he should be black journaling, he tends to forget, or he tends to just skip that, or he does not want me to tell him to go black journal. He gets triggered. And so how he deals with it is he's gotten really good at learning how to manage his emotions. He can check in with himself. So he's got himself down to about 5 seconds, he says. Like he says his is 5 seconds. He's got himself to about 5 seconds where he can just be like, okay, I'm feeling this. I'm freaking pissed off, and I'm checking in with this, and I'm not going to go there. He can literally just tell himself, I'm not going to go there, and he can shut it off, because he's done all of the black journaling. He's done all of these different techniques to really help him learn to manage his emotions. And so that's kind of the point of black journaling, is to not so that you have to do it for the rest of your life, but so that it treats you how, or it trains you how to manage your emotions. So like when I feel an emotion come up, I can be like, okay, this emotion isn't mine, or this emotion needs to be dealt with, and then I know what to do with it. And so a lot of times, black journaling isn't something that has to be done forever. He literally has gotten so good at it that he literally can just be like, okay, I'm so mad, or the kids are triggering me, and he just like builds it up and like lets it go, kind of like an energy ball. He just builds it all up into a little ball and he lets it go. He does a lot of tapping and he doesn't even realize it. So when I first started learning different skills, tapping was one that I learned very first for anxiety. So I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have anxiety because I'm so overwhelmed about all this work that I have to get done, and it's just not going anywhere, and I'm feeling like a failure, and blah, blah, blah. So I never taught him how to tap. But since then, I realized that anytime he gets mad, my husband always does this. He starts hitting himself in the head right here, just like that. And I'm like, you're totally tapping. And so he does that a lot, and he doesn't even realize he does that, but he like subconsciously like taps. And so tapping is a really big one that's used in our house, and black journaling is a really big one used in our house to deal with anger or that built up emotion, and literally just letting it go. And it's kind of hard because until you just know how, or you get that click, it's hard to just let it go. But we've kind of just trained ourselves, okay, we're feeling this, like we're just going to live in it, and then we're just going to let it go. And so those are kind of the things that we do. But there's many other things you could do. He used to punch things. He's very physical, like Tab, so he likes to punch things. Like we just bought Tab a punching bag because it's just, he needs that outlet. He needs to be physical, and it wasn't being met. And so he likes to punch things. My husband likes to punch things, likes to throw things. So those are things he does. The next question is, and if you guys get questions, feel free to tap or type them in. The next question is from Jasmine. She said, I noticed when, seriously, ever since I put out that speaker invite, my notifications are just like going crazy. So I notice when I meet someone who could be a potential client, I want to talk to them about everything I do. How do I decide the best route, or is it okay to bring up multiple? I ran into this problem. I was like, oh my gosh, well, I do foot zoning, I do massage, I do this, I do that, I do blah, 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 blah. Here's what I do. Is I bring up the one that first pops into mind, because I believe that our intuition guides us in the right direction. So if I'm talking to someone, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm a gut healer. Sometimes when I talk to someone, I'll be like, oh, I'm a business mentor. And so it just depends. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm a public speaker. Like I just like change my mind every day on what I am, depending on who I talk to. Or if you know what that person needs, obviously you're going to target it to that. Or if you know what your offer is. So like right now, you know, we're trying to fill up the Miss Female Entrepreneur. We're trying to fill up seats for the events, which practically they're gone, but I'm still getting tons of people reaching out. Or right now I'm doing discovery calls and I'm trying to fill up my personal mentoring. And so for me, I would kind of base it off of what I'm offering in that moment too. So for Jasmine, she's not on right now, but when she watches the replay, what I would do is where she's trying to get people signed up for a foot zoning class, I would probably say I'm a foot zone educator. Or, you know, I'm a health educator, or whatever it may be. I would probably go that route if you have multiple things you do and you haven't narrowed yourself down into this box. Now, what would be best if you narrowed yourself down into this box, because then you can say, oh, you know, I'm a mindset mentor, or I'm a mindset and a business mentor is one that I sometimes tell people, and they'll be like, oh, what does that entail? And then I tell them, oh, well, I have, you know, multiple things, or blah, 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 blah. Or you can just say I own multiple businesses, you know? And so, but I try not to bring up all of them because it overwhelms people. And if you guys watch the sales video, if you have too many options, you're going to turn away people because they don't know what to choose from. If you can limit it down to just a couple things. So like when I do my discovery calls, I never give people more than 3 choices to pick from. Because if I give them more than 3 choices to pick from, they get overwhelmed. And if people are overwhelmed, they will not buy. And so if you can really narrow it down, I tell this a lot with network marketers, if you can narrow it down to just your top 3 favorite products, and that's just what you're known for selling, is those top 3 favorite products, you're going to get a lot more business because you're focusing you almost are handing them their options on a silver platter versus, oh my gosh, we have 50 products or thousands of products. And that's why I really like Juice Plus, because they literally have like 5 products and that's all. And they've been in business for like 20 years. It's really easy. Like you either get the capsules or the gummies. You get the shakes or you get the bars. That's literally it. And so, or now they have omegas, but that's literally all they have. And so it really makes a huge difference to not overwhelm people. And so I would say go off your intuition on what you feel you need to tell people that you do, if you own multiple businesses. But if you don't own multiple businesses, then all you have to do is say, this is what I do. Like, this is my niche. This is who I help. You never want to like just talk about your products or your services. Like I never would just be like, oh, I do foot zoning and I do massage and I do like, no, those are like per se products, even though they're services, but they're per se products. I would say, you know, I help people, you know, heal their gut through foot zoning, blah, blah, blah. I have a fabulous training from one of my uplines all about this. YouTube, watch Your Balls by Leah Dalton. Oh yeah, write that down, you guys. That's awesome. Awesome. And it's only 5 minutes. That's even better. I'm like, I never watch like long videos, which is funny because all my videos are long and people watch them, but I can't. Like people will send me stuff. They'll probably message me, hey, will you do this? Will you research this product that I have and watch this 20-minute video that this doctor did on our product? And I literally will flat out say, I'm just going to be honest. I won't watch it. I don't watch 20-minute videos, and sell me your personal experience. And I literally tell people this. I don't care about what this doctor says. What has it done for you? So I don't know if you guys saw on this post. I think it was on something of like, how many products would you have to sell to make 100K or something? And there was this guy on there. And he said, oh, well, I would have to do this, or this. But my partner is getting ready to just make this much money. And so if you want to be a part of that and you want to know, let me know. And I said, come back to me when you have, I said, no, that's what I said. I said, how far are you from getting that? And he's like, well, I'm still like a few months out, this or that. I said, awesome. Come back and tell me your personal experience when that's happened. Because I don't care if somebody else has done clear back here, I don't know them. Come back when you have the experience because I know you. And that's the problem, is a lot of people sell their team's experience, or they sell, and it's okay to share stories, but it's like people don't really care about that person that's lost 80 pounds and it's the same picture going around, and like we don't even know who that person is, so we don't really care if they lost 80 pounds, you know. And so I love that. Awesome. Oh, that's me. So I'll watch yours and best, and that's it. Yep, I love it. Awesome. Oh, that's good. I got you caught in my funnel. I'm just kidding, Holly. I love it. So this is from Britannia. How do you decide what to work on next after finishing a project or a program? So this is key. So you should have your year-long goal, like what it is that you're going to make, what it is that you're going to do, what you're going to launch. Here's what I would say. If you just finished a project and a program and it worked, don't focus on anything else. Focus on selling that project or that program over and over and over. Like, master that. So at first,
Nick, you've muted yourself.
awesome. Thanks. Sorry. I don't know how that, I think my computer screen's dirty, and so it automatically like will mute me. Anyways, so what I would say, I don't know what you guys heard, but what I would say as far as like working on a new program or something is I started with Meet Your Destiny, and I didn't focus on anything else until I made money off that. And so if you just finished a project or a program, practice relaunching it over and over and over and over. Don't focus on anything else. Make money off of that one program and ask yourself, how much money do I want to make off that one program before? So I consistently wanted to make $4,000 each launch. So guess what? I consistently make $4,000 each launch. I then added finance your destiny. And so I always say, focus on one thing. Just like I'm saying, focus on selling one product or service, focus on mastering one thing you're selling and then repeat that. And then once you've mastered that like 3 to 5 times, then you're like, awesome, I can add something else. But at the same time, why add something else? Because I'll tell you from my perspective, I have a lot of stuff going on. And I was just talking to my mentor today. What should I eliminate? Like, I have way too much going on. You know, it's like I'm doing these events. I'm doing the boot camp. I'm doing, I have 3 different classes of my own. I have personal clients. I do creating healthy babies. Like, I have to let something go. And so I'm in the process of deciding what that is. So I promise you, the more simple you can take it. So for me with creating healthy babies, they can buy my book or work with me one-on-one. That is all. And I love that. And I want to bring all my businesses like that. I want that they can either buy this or work with me one-on-one. And so I would say keep it simple, because if you start to get into a ton of different things, sometimes we get on like a program high. And so we create one program and then we want to create another program and another program and another program. Hey, Sammy, you'll have to go back and watch the replay. I answered your questions. But so what I would say is, we get on this program high. We just want to create new things all the time. But I promise you, you'll love it if you just stay simple and master that, make thousands of dollars off that one program, and then you can do little side things after that. And so that's what I would say there. Hopefully that answered your question. How far ahead are you planning? A month, a year, blah, 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 blah. So this is what I do. I have a year plan. So all of our events for female entrepreneur are already planned out. We already have 2 events in California, a few in Lehigh, and then a few in Salt Lake City. All of those are already planned. Our boot camp's already planned. Everything in that business is planned out within the year. Now, in my own personal businesses, there's things I plan out for the year. So like my big launches, like Meet Your Destiny, Finance Your Destiny, any programs or anything, I kind of have so I guess to answer this, my marketing strategy, yes, is planned out in a year. I know what I'm launching, when I'm working on what, and when I'm creating something new. Like all of that is planned out. Other than that, I have a 30-day goal. So then after that, I take action steps, just like all my courses. I take action steps every day towards that 30-day goal. But those 30-day goals are lined up for typically money goals, because that's just the goals I like to make. Those goals match up with my year-long money goal. So like I will make 100K this year. So through that, I have to know my strategy to get to 100K. And so I kind of do it all. I plan the big picture and then I break it down into 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, and then 1 day. I don't really do like the 2-week goals just because I'm like, I already know what I have to do every day to get there by a month. And so that's personally what I do. I hope that answers your question. But it's just different things. So like I just barely bought this calendar. It's freaking awesome. But it's just like this big old calendar I'm going to hang on my wall, because I have like 3 different planners, but I wanted a big long year planner. So I literally could write, okay, I'm going to launch Meet Your Destiny this day. I wanted to see it all written out. So this is my marketing calendar that will have everything written down of when it's launching, when I need to, like when I'm actually starting it, when I need to do pre-launch sales. Like this is going to be my marketing calendar. And then I have obviously like my daily planner, and I have a different business planner too. And so I have a lot of different ways that I schedule things. The next question was, I realized this morning that I need a purpose that makes me want to get out of bed in the morning and not get burned out. How do I find that? How do I not already have this purpose? Can fear get in the way of my passion for my purpose? This is what I would say. You have to ask yourself, what is my purpose? Not what is someone else's purpose, not what is everybody else doing. So I see this happen a lot in the mentor world. They try to just do what everybody else is doing, and then they don't have that passion because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So what I would tell you is you haven't found your purpose. You haven't found your niche. You haven't found like who is your ideal client. Like your ideal client isn't just women or women like I will tell you right now, your ideal client should never be people that just want to love themselves more or people that want to be happier because every other coach is doing that. What makes you so much different? How are you changing their lives? So you do a lot of like black journaling and vision board and stuff like that. So does everybody else in the Kirk Duncan world. So you have to ask yourself, how am I different than everybody else? What makes me, so for you, I would say if you're passionate about bullet journaling, that would be my route for you because I've always been intrigued by it. Other people are intrigued by it. I would say bullet journaling is your niche. Now, that might not be your passion, so don't listen to me. But I would say you've got to niche it down and I'm not a big like niche it down person, but you've kind of got to niche down what you're teaching about. I don't care if you niche down like who you are or what you do, but I would say you've got to niche down what you're teaching about. What do people know you as? Like, I couldn't tell you by following you what exactly you do. I know you teach classes on like journaling and vision boards, but other than that, like I have no idea how you could serve me. And so I think that as you dig a little deeper and get a little more specific, you're going to find your passion. Also, I think you're going to find your passion when you start creating results in other people. Because it's really cool to be like, oh my gosh, my life is completely different because like I just did a discovery call with someone and I did a discovery call with Holly too. And she's like, oh my gosh, that information you gave me was like priceless. Like you have no idea. Like she ran with that free information that I gave her. She's got to talk.
And I have to edit. Completely did my entire website. Everything is ready to go. I'm launching it today.
I love it. Yay. That's so awesome.
And I have my first gig from it on the 1st of March as well. So
yeah. And see, and that's all off of a free thing. I didn't even offer her anything there. Like I totally could have offered her something and I didn't offer anything. It literally was a free service that I just gave to her. Now, guess what? Because she's got results. So I'm in her mind that when she wants to hire a mentor, she's better be like, guess what? Nicole created results right here. I'm going to hire her. She better. Now, so here's the thing. I would say once you create results, like the results that Holly created, it's like, it was just minimal tweaking, but massive results. I'm not even going to share because I want nobody to ever steal her idea until she's launched it. But it's literally like amazing. And she's already got gigs, speaking gigs out of it here locally. And everywhere. Like she's just going to be freaking amazing. And so what I would say is start creating results so you know what people want. And so you've got to niche it down. You've got to find that direct, like, who is it that you're helping? Is it like women with dogs? Is it, you know what I mean? Like really figure out like who it is that you're helping and what you can do for them that's different than every other mentor out there. Everybody's a self-help mentor. Everybody knows about journaling now. Everybody knows about vision boards. Everybody knows about accountability. Like you've got to keep up on the times of like everybody's like taking everybody's stuff and like redoing it because they know it works. So that's awesome. But what are they doing to add 10 times more value out of that? And so that's what I would say there. Let's see. How can it, I think this is the last question. So if you guys have questions, make sure you post them. How can I learn to become a better presenter? I have been to Present Yourself. I teach a lot at church, so more practice. Spend more time planning my presentations, more prayer. These are just questions. So I'm sure these have super easy or simple answers, but this is where my brain is. So there is a skill to presenting, absolutely. But I don't let that stop people. So for me, the biggest things I will tell you when it comes to presenting is present, and you probably learned this if you went to Present Yourself, because I'm sure they teach something like this. So what I would say is presenting literally 3 times more than you think is like big. So you've always got to dress one notch up from your ideal client. You've always got to present big, like when it's in person, or even on here, like you want to use up the whole screen. Like you don't just want to be this small little person. You want to use up the whole screen. You want to be excited. You want to be in their face. You want to be like, you've got to do this. Like, did you see when I went to Holly? I'm like, you better do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, you've got to use your energy. So I always tell people, go 3 times what you think feels comfortable. Because if you can stand up and you can just really present yourself in the way, I'm really bad at smiling because I get really into it, but I promise you, smiling makes a massive difference. And when I go back and I watch my videos, I'm like, if I put them on mute, this is how you guys can know. Go watch your videos and put them on mute and go ask yourself if you look happy. I never look happy because I'm never smiling because I just get so like into it. And so smiling is something that I'm working on, but that's a key one. Smiling, big hands, big gestures. Literally when you are presenting you in person, stand at the very edge of the stage. Don't be that person that's in the middle or in the back. Have your feet off of the stage, like almost like falling off. Like have your feet off of the stage and don't pace back and forth. Somewhere. And then when you look at people, and I'm sure you learned all this, so I won't go into too much detail unless other people want to know, but there really is keys and skills to presenting. Now, I don't care if you're the worst presenter in the world. You're going to, because we've all been to boring presentations, and guess what? Those people still make money. I don't want you to get caught up in the presentation thing. Here's what I would suggest to you. Get the practice, go present, have somebody record you every single time so that you can see what you need to do different. So when my clients work with me, I make them record their webinars and I make them record their presentations. And then I critique their body language because as we know, a cell, the cell is automatically made in their mind. They know if they're going to buy from you or not buy from you by your body language from the first time they see you. 90% of a sell is body language and emotion. 10% of it is what you actually are even selling. And so it's all about like your energy, the way you hold yourself, the way you look. Like people say it doesn't matter what you look like. It totally matters what you look like. Like people are not going to buy from you if you don't look like you don't have your SHIT together. And so what I would say is, yes, you can learn to become a better presenter, and how you would learn to become a better presenter is just to do it and then hire somebody who has done so I've done a master body language like course. If you then hire somebody that's a master body language specialist and have them critique it on how you could make a sell just by your body language. Now, I don't let that bug me. Like I said, I still get on and I'm not smiling or whatever. I already know what I need to work on. But guess what? I still send all my stuff to people to get it critiqued. I still critique myself. I still go back through and watch everything because it makes a difference on the quality of your videos. It makes, like you guys can even tell just from like people that have amazing backgrounds to me that has like my stuff in my background. Now I do the best I can with what I have because I live in a 2-bedroom townhouse. But guess what? The second I have a freaking house, my office, like the first thing I'm going to work on is my background because.
Nick, you muted yourself again.
No, I didn't. My computer did it. I don't get why it's doing that. Anyways, so for me, what I would say is really just having people watch and people that are ideal clients to be like, hey, can you go watch this and tell me what you think I should, work on or do better? Just ask for advice. Ask your accountability team for advice, whatever it may be that you have in your hand. And so, yes, it makes a difference on the way you present, but don't let it stop you because the only way to get better is to practice. But the thing is you have to not just practice at being a better presenter, you actually have to practice uncomfortable stuff. So I started as simple as being like, hey, during my first presentation, I'm going to lift my hands above my head 3 times. During this one presentation, I'm going to find 3 times that I can lift my hands above my head. And it makes all of the world of the difference. So I think that was all the questions. So if you guys have any, I'm just going to go to the page and make sure.
Nicole?
Yes.
Did you see Talisha's questions?
No, I don't think she posted them in the event, maybe.
No, she didn't post them in the event.
Okay, I'm going to go to the group right now. Let's see. I'm glad you said something.
It's under the post.
I found it.
It's under the post. Oh, okay, perfect.
Okay, so she
Yeah,
said, let's see. How do you handle excuses in a way that is compassionate but still to the point when clients use them with you? So it would be easier if I knew what type of excuses. I don't deal with excuses. I just don't. Now, I'm gentle and I'm kind, but I tell people, like, I always ask people for their permission. I say, do you want me to be real or do you want me to make you feel good? And everyone's going to tell you, I want you to be real. Even if they don't want you to be real, they're going to tell you they want you to be real. So you got permission from them to be real. And so I have, even just yesterday, for anyone that's in Infinite Wealth, you saw me be very tough love with somebody. And it was hard. But I have to also realize that my job is to move people forward. My job is not to let excuses like get them. So for me, the biggest excuse I get is like, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, my husband sucks, whatever it is. And so I personally educate them on pretty much the fact that we all know you can't change that. Like, you can't change the fact that your husband sucks. You can't change the fact that, like, you're Holly laughs. You can't change what other people do. The only thing you can do is what can you do about it. So here's what I do about excuses. I always talk in solution mode all of the time, even with my husband. People come to me and they'll say, okay, here's my excuse. It'd be easier if I had an example, but here's my excuse. Like, I can't afford your product. So I say, awesome. So you want to buy this stuff, you just can't afford it. And they'll be like, yes. I'm like, okay, awesome. What can you do to create that money? And they're like, oh, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Awesome. Go create a list of 30 things and we'll go from there. And then they create that list of 30 things. Awesome. Pick the one that stands out the most to you, and that's the one you'll start with. And literally, it puts people in this bind of like, they have to take action. The longer you let people go into stories or excuses, the longer they're just not going to do anything. And then you've got yourself caught in a pickle because you're not in control of the conversation. The key is being in control of the conversation at all times, or you will get eaten alive, especially if you're presenting on stage. Because if one person starts up, it creates all these different triggers with everyone else. And so if you notice when people go into stories in any of my classes, I say, awesome, I'm going to stop you right there. Let's go to this point. And I get them going because their mind will go on about a story after story after story of all the reasons why they can't. I tell them all the reasons of how they can. And then and you'll see, if you guys were on the Infinite Wealth Engine yesterday, oh my gosh, this lady, and she's in this group, so I'm not going to use names, but she's not here today. But if she ends up watching this replay, go watch your face, because what happens is she's talking about all these things that she can't do. And why she can't do it and this or that. And her team's like, well, I don't know what to do, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, awesome. I can't remember what I said, but I was like, okay, her problem was she can't get her action step done. I said, okay, that's not true, because you reached out to me and I told you to go make, this list and do this and do this. And you had it back to me by midnight because I gave you a deadline. So then she was like, yeah, well, I do well if there's a deadline. But she was going to go into a story. And this is what I said. Awesome. Your team can not get off the call with you until your action step is done every single day. And if your action step's not done, they have to suffer time with their family because you didn't get your action step done, and they're going to sit on that phone call until it's done. And you go back and watch the face if this is you. And if it's not you, you should have seen her face. There was this fear of panic where her subconscious is like, oh crap, I can't get out of this one. So then what did I say? I said, and you're not allowed to change your goal. Because I knew the next thing she was going to say is I want to change my goal to something easier. And so I put her in this situation of where she has to do her action step. She has to step up. And then before she can even address that she wants to change her goal, I addressed that because I knew that was going to be the next thing in her mind, because I'm just that good, And so I told her, and you're not going to change your goal. And she's like, well, I was just going to say I want to change my goal to something more doable that I can do. And I'm like, you can do this. I believe in you. I know you can do it. So I was still loving, and I still know she can do it. But you should have seen the panic on her face of her subconscious trying to get her out of it. And that's what I love to do with people. And if you don't get people in that type of pickle of where it's like, you put the pressure on them where they actually have to take action, you're just a motivational mentor. And there's nothing wrong with being a motivational mentor. Some people are really good at that. But my job is to get people a return on their investment so that they make their money back and they learn how to create money for the rest of their life. And if this woman, if I allow just like the rest of her team to like just enable her, because everybody else is like, oh, well, you should just try journaling with music and do this and do that. And I'm like, no one give her advice. Like, her only job is this action step. She doesn't need any more mentoring techniques because she's going to hide behind them. Oh yeah, I can do that because it's something easier. She's learned how to, talk people into her subconscious. And I know this because this was me, and I kept telling her this. This is totally me. I know how to like convince my husband of anything because I'm really good at making him like feel bad for me so that like he just does what I want, so that like, and it's not that I do it out of being mean. My subconscious has learned how to do it, and it's a habit that I have, and so I can see it in other people. And so what I would say about excuses is you've got to just stick to the point. You stick to facts, you stick to what the action step is, and you just don't deal with the excuses, which is why I don't let people use an excuse more than once. And they know that from the very beginning. So the very beginning when I work with people, they know all of my rules because then they agreed to them at the beginning. Remember, we said that like you agreed to this, you can't use an excuse more than once. You've already used that excuse, so what's your new excuse? So that they run out of excuses and they can't use those excuses anymore. So I addressed what's going to be the excuses at the very beginning. I know that money is going to be an excuse. I know their husband's going to be an excuse. I know their kids are going to be an excuse. I know that there's spaghetti. That's why I teach people about spaghetti thinking and opposition. I know that like car wrecks and illness and sicknesses, I know those are going to be an excuse. I address them from the very get-go. And anybody that's taken any of my classes, they know that. They know that that's what I addressed from the very beginning so that we all agree the sabotage sucks. We all go through it, but it doesn't matter. We're moving forward. And so, and typically I have sabotage in the middle of all those courses so everybody can see me go through it, and I get very vulnerable. I explain everything I'm going through so people know that I'm a real human. I don't just make these rules up and not follow them. I practice what I preach. So number 2, besides the return on investment, how do you know where to invest? There are so many opportunities and they're all good. Higher quality problem, I guess. Totally a higher quality problem. Here's the problem. You start getting in this world of, I call it seminar hopping or motivational hopping. We go to our first seminar and we're super motivated and we get sucked into somebody's funnel. And then, like me, I got sucked into Kirk Duncan's funnel for 2 years. I took every single course he had. Well, he's very smart. Everything he has will run for about like 2 years. So then you sign up for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. So I was caught in his funnel for a whole 2 years. Now, best 2 years of my life because I think everybody needs that motivation. But at the same time, I was just getting stuck over and over and over into the motivational world. I will tell you where you should invest your money if you're over that stage. If you're not in that stage, go get some motivation. Go figure that out. Work on your mindset, whatever it may be. Now, if you are done with that, then guess what the next thing is? You hop from group program to group program to group program. Not because it's not beneficial, but it's the cheaper route for you. And so people will say, well, I really need this and I want to learn these skills. I can't afford to get a personal mentor. So then they go from group mentor program to group mentor program to group mentor program. Trust me, I've been there too. So then what happens is finally people are like, oh, well, with all this money I'm spending on all these seminars and group mentor programs, I could have hired myself a personal mentor. So do you want to know what I suggest? Skip all of these because you realize you're caught in someone else's funnel and you don't ever learn absolutely everything. It's impossible to get personalized help in a group mentor program unless they offer that. So why not skip that whole entire cycle and just get a personal mentor? That's where you should invest your money, which Talisha I know already has because I'm her personal mentor. And so I would say, don't worry about where to invest your money next. Invest in a personal mentor and then invest it right back into your business. Invest it into the things you don't want to do, such as building a website or a VA or you know, Sammy Bell's really good at she just is good at doing it. And so she doesn't invest in that stuff because she just wants it done right the first time. And she knows she can do it better than anyone else. So me.
Also because I'm too cheap.
Exactly. So that's how I know your guys' cycle. But at the same time, that's where she's at and what she's willing to do. So guess what? Someone like Sammy, I hire her for all my stuff I don't want to do. I'm like, hey, can you create me a bio? I'll pay you. Like, you know what I mean? I literally pay her to create me a bio. Like, those are just things I don't want to do. I hire people, like I said, I hire a VA, whatever it may be. So you have to ask yourself, what can you afford, number one, and what are you willing to do? But the very first thing that I will always invest in, number one, is a personal mentor. Because they're going to tell me how to get somewhere faster than I can get there, figuring it out on my own. And the second thing I personally invest in is tech help. Because I would love to figure it out, but I'm not at a place to figure it out right now. But guess what? It would save me a lot of hassle when things go wrong if I just figured out how to do it myself. And so personally, those are the two places I do it. Now you get to decide for you what's the things you don't want to do. Maybe for you know, like Holly always has to do samples and stuff. Maybe she doesn't want to like spend the time wasting like putting together all our samples and mailing them. Maybe she hires a teenage girl to come over for an hour for $5 and she does it for her, or $10 or $20, whatever it is, and just says, okay, I hand that job off. Oh, it looked like she was going to push a button. So it's like, so that's personally what I would do is I would stop wasting time in the world of like somebody else's funnel, and I would either just get straight to the top of their funnel, because in the end it's going to save you money. Yes, nanny. That was my very, very, very first investment. How did I forget that? That was my very first investment. I was just talking to Todd yesterday. I really want to hire a full-time nanny, and I don't know how I'm going to make it work, but I told him I didn't know how I was going to make it work for a part-time nanny. So I'm just going to make the jump, and I need to like figure out how to hire a full-time nanny, because I always run into the issue of needing my nannies more. And then it just never, like, I never can get that amount of time, because then they're used to the regular schedule. And so I really think like that's my next jump within the next month or two, is hiring a full-time nanny. And it's freaking me out, because I'm telling you guys, I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. But I also didn't know how I was going to make it happen the first time. I just did. And I made the decision. And then guess what? The income came with it. And so I always tell people, you decide what that is for you that's taking up the most amount of time. And where the ages are that my kids take a lot of my time of being able to have work time. So if I could just have 5 hours of undivided attention every single day, because right now I only have 3, if I could add 2 more hours and then my all day long events that I need to go to, full-time job. I'm hoping that I can just convince my mom to be my granny nanny. I want to hire her. That's my job, or that's my goal. But that's kind of where I'm at there.
I think we hit, when you're like me and you do everything yourself, you hit a point where it would cost more and take more time to learn to do it yourself than to hire out. And that's where I'm at with like the membership site. I'm just going to have Megan do mine, because it would take me more time to learn how to do it and more money really investing in all of the trainings and whatever than it would to probably just pay her. So I'm finally at that point where I have to like move on beyond myself.
Well, and what I love it too is then once she makes that jump, she'll probably be like, she probably won't regret ever not doing it herself, because she learned a lot, but she's going to be like, man, if I would have just hired out everything else before, think of what I could have got done, you know? But I know where Sammy's at, and I know her experiences, and she's learned a ton that has benefited me. So I'm grateful for her doing stuff herself. Like, she figured out how to write my book and publish it and whatever it may be. So that's kind of where I would go with that. So the last question is, what do you recommend for me personally to build accomplishment energy during a slow spell? So I think a lot of us are going through this right now. It's a really slow time. And I get frustrated because January is typically my big time. What I would say is, what I would do to build up your accomplishment energy during slow time is you need to figure out what you're working on. So like Talisha, she's not on, but when she watches this, we're working on her launch. So it's going to be a slow time. So here's the thing. We go from this stage of being like, we just create stuff to make money all the time, to then we actually start putting a strategy to it. But then it starts getting a little scary because then you have a strategy, but then during these times while you're planning your strategy, you're not making any money. So it seems really scary. But let me tell you, it pays off big in the long run as you start to create that residual income. And so for me, what I do is I have to focus on what's going amazing. And I have to focus on, I'm no longer hustling to like create this next tiny little class that I had, or this next tiny little thing, or this next little offer. And so for me, I build my accomplishment by what I've accomplished. So for instance, Talisha, when you watch this, you just created a Manny chat all by yourself. That's a freaking huge accomplishment, like huge, huge, huge. Plus you just did your challenge. Plus you've been doing written content. Plus you've been finishing up your modality stuff. Like that stuff's an accomplishment. Don't let money be the only accomplishment energy that you have, or you will be very, very disappointed. And so knowing that you're moving towards this easier lifestyle with a higher return on investment, but there's always this slow time. It's kind of like die-off. You know, when you start doing your diet, you feel a lot worse before you feel a lot better. And it's the same thing with business. As you start to weed out your old, horrible, bad habits, there is a time that you're not making any money, because guess what? You're creating those foundations. You're creating that launch. You're creating whatever it is. So for right now, right now, I'm not really making any money besides what's coming in residual, because I'm focusing on discovery calls. Well, guess what? Discovery calls take a lot of time, and a lot of people say no, you know, versus saying yes. And so you get a lot of no's and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not accomplished. No one's buying anything. But guess what? When I get that bite, it's going to be a good bite, and it's going to be a quality bite, and it's going to be a quality client. And so I'm no longer focusing on like, here's this $97 thing, or this, or this, or this, or this, the people that suck all your energy. You're focusing on higher quality people willing to invest and see the return on investment. And they're actually going to be an amazing testimony, like those that buy $5 million ranches, or, you know, like Donette that did $70,000 in sales. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, how do I create results like this in other people when I don't even create results like that in myself? And it's because of the quality of people that I choose to work with. And so I would say making a list of your accomplishments every single day, 10 accomplishments every single day if you're really struggling. So I've been struggling a lot with confidence lately ever since this whole Amazon stuff, and I can't snap out of it. Like I just can't. Like it's eating me alive, because there's nothing I can do about those reviews, and they're going to be there forever. And it's like, it's driving me nuts. And so I've been having to tell myself something amazing about myself 10 times every single day, because I know the power of how it's eating me alive. And I know other people can see the energy in me too. People see I'm tired. People see I'm like stressed. People see like that my husband's engine blew. Like people see it, and it's okay that people see it. And I'm okay to be vulnerable about that. But at the same time, if I let that eat me alive and just stay in that and like want people to pity me, I get nowhere. So I get to step out of it, write accomplishments every single day. And I don't know when I'm going to feel amazing 100% again. I don't know. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I do it until. And that's the problem, is a lot of people are like, well, I don't know when I'm going to make that sell. Awesome. Me either. You do it until. And that's what makes the difference of people that are successful and have this unsuccessful mindset, is they just do it until. They don't know when, they don't know how, they don't know what, they don't know. But they, you know, like Brittany, she's been taking on a ton of opportunities. You know, she just signed up to be a panel speaker. She's signed up to be a vendor. Like she's just doing things until, but she's not letting it stop her, because she doesn't necessarily know where her passion's at right now. She's just continuing to go and figuring out this passion thing along the way. And we all have that. We all have things that we don't have figured out. We all have things or issues that are happening, but we still move forward and we still go until. And so that's always my thing. You do it until. I don't know when until is, but you just do it until. So it's a horrible answer, but it's the best answer that you'll ever receive, because you're going to do it until, versus, well, I'll do it for this long, and then if it doesn't work, or I don't see a return on investment, then I'm going to drop it. And you could have been this close to your goal when you decided to drop it. So those are kind of my suggestions. I have 9 minutes if anybody has any other questions. Sammy.
I didn't have a question so much as I meant to vox you, and I didn't. But I listened to your radio interview, and I thought you did a really good job, and I wanted you to know that.
Yay! I need that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I shared it too. I don't know if it's shared right, but I tried to.
Yay! I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you. I needed that. I was mad because I told my husband not to listen, and he went to his mom's, and then he came home. He's like, "Well, how was your radio interview?" And I was like, "I think it went okay. Like, I think it went good. It went really fast." He's like, "I know. I listened to the whole thing," and I'm like, "Oh, you jerk."
It did seem to go really fast. Like, that was surprising.
Yeah, and the guy was kind of weird, but it was good.
He was so weird.
So weird. He was so
I'm glad you said that. I thought I was just being judgy.
No, he was so weird, but it went well for us being weird together. It went very, very well.
Good.
So I want to hear the recording. Awesome. I'll send it to you. It's super short. The guy's weird. He doesn't know what autoimmune is. And
He's like, auntie. I can't say it. Auntie.
yeah, you can obviously tell he's reading a script and he didn't study me is what it comes down to. But It went great, and I think it'll bring lots of opportunities. And I do it again on Monday, so I'm super excited. It's with a different guy.
How
Wait,
cool.
tell me more. So what are you doing? Is this the one that you shared like a week or two ago that you were doing something? I swear it was a TV commercial or not TV.
So it's CUTV, so it's part of NBC, but you have to start out as a radio show. So it's a radio show, and then you can work your way up to the actual like TV shows, but you have to like go through their whole process. So it was a radio show for a news station, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. I was like, hey, wait a second, hold on. What is this radio thing? I was so confused.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. It was pretty. You wait till it was interesting. It was really, really good. But you'll get exactly what we're talking about. The 1 second into the call, you'll be like, yeah, I get exactly what they're saying. So it was good. I appreciate your guys' support. It means a lot. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, we're all struggling. We all don't know what we're doing in a million other areas. And I would just say, keep going. Do it until.
Yeah, I like that advice. Do it until. I did have a question, and my child will not stop complaining about this bar long enough for me to think about it. So if it's okay, I will just walk through you.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
Love you.
Okay, bye. Get feeling better, Janelle. Thanks for being on, though. That's awesome. Okay, now I got to figure out how to close my thing. Okay, there we go.